had exercised enough. Ling left the gym and walked towards his room, but Ling's steps stopped right in the living room when he saw his lover sitting on the sofa. Min. Ling without further ado immediately approached Min. He also immediately hugged Min tightly because Min had been missing for a week and had not given any news. I miss you. Where have you been? Why didn't you pick up when I called you? I even called Pigeonji, but he didn't respond to me either. Ling asked Min the various questions he had in his head. Min silent. He didn't answer Ling's question and changed the topic. I came here because there is something I want to talk to you about. Ling, who was starting to feel the tension from Min's gaze, immediately sat in front of Min carefully. What do you want to talk to me about? I want us to end this relationship. Huh? Ling was surprised by Min's words just now. What do you mean by ending? I want us to break up because I've been bored for a long time. We're no longer compatible and everything feels so boring. All this time I've stayed because I feel sorry for you who looks lonely ... said Min in a flat voice. Ling was stunned, unable to believe what he had just heard. Bored? Are you serious? Min? Are we always fine? Tell me, is there anything about me that makes you feel uncomfortable? It's fine, but behind it all I've been wanting to end this for a long time. Apart from that, I'm waiting for the right time because I don't want people to think badly of me. I'm maintaining my image, that's all. If it wasn't for that, I left a long time ago. Ling's face started to turn pale, pain clearly visible in his eyes. So, you were just pretending all this time. Didn't you say you really love me and want to marry me? Min shrugged his shoulders in an indifferent manner. Love? At first I loved you, but now I don't feel that. That feeling of love is gone, and it's time for me to end this all. Ling bit her lip, trying to hold back the tears that were starting to well up in her eyes. Why did you never tell me in the first place? Why did you choose to hurt me like this? Min looked at him coldly, without the slightest regret. I told you because I just feel sorry for you, Ling, said Min in a flat tone. Ling was silent. Her body began to tremble from holding back the surging emotions. But Min remained calm, as if there was nothing wrong with what he had just said. I hope you can understand, Min continued, his voice remaining even, without a trace of pity. You're not the problem, Ling. I'm just not interested anymore. I don't want to pretend to be happy in front of other people anymore and cause you more pain. Ling finally couldn't hold back her tears anymore and cried loudly. She felt every word Min said was like a sharp knife. It was heartbreaking, and Ling also didn't expect that her relationship with Min, which had been going on for 2 years, would end like this. But Min just stood, staring at him blankly. Thanks for everything, Ling. I'm sure you'll be fine, he said in a cool tone before walking towards the door. I will immediately provide clarification to the media about the rumors circulating if we break up. Don't forget to provide clarification too, said Min again. Without looking back, Min left the house, leaving Ling alone with deep sadness. Look, Vu's voice was heard as he held out his cell phone towards Orm, who was enjoying a bowl of meatballs. Orm, who seemed busy with his food, finally looked up, staring at the cell phone screen that Vu held out in front of him. Orm's eyes narrowed slightly when he saw what was on the screen, but there was no special expression on his face. He just remained silent, then continued eating without saying much. Personal assistant Lingling Kwong, who has beauty like an angel, continued Vu while reading comments that appeared on one of the online platforms. His name is Orm Kornnaphat. He is more suited to being an artist than being a personal assistant. Continued view again, while Orm was still focused on his food. You went viral because you work on Ling's personal assistant, said View with a mischievous smile, seeing his friend who didn't seem to care even though his name was starting to be widely discussed on social media. Orm finally responded, although he remained relaxed. I know that, but I didn't really respond to it, he answered with a shrug, as if it wasn't something worth thinking about deeply. It's been a month since Orm became the personal assistant of Lingling Kwong, a famous artist. During the month, he often followed Ling to various events and public events. Not infrequently, Ling's fans invite him to take photos together or just chat, admiring his presence, who always looks professional next to Ling. Even though at first he didn't really care, Orm began to notice that the number of followers on his social media accounts had increased sharply. He was surprised, trying to find out how they could find his personal account. Not only that, every time he followed Ling to a public event, Orm often saw people secretly taking photos of him, then uploading them on social media. That made him better known, even though he was not a public figure. Suddenly, the calm atmosphere was broken by a loud voice from breaking. Shit, he exclaimed, making Orm, View, and Milk startled and turned towards him in unison. What is it? Milk asked quickly, seeing Breaking's serious face. Here, quickly. Look at this, answered Breaking in a worried tone, as he put his cell phone on the table, showing a video of the interview. View, Orm, and Milk approached to see the cell phone screen showing an interview broadcast of a man named Mean. In the interview, Mean appeared to clarify a number of rumors that had been circulating about his relationship with Ling. He officially stated that he and Ling had decided to separate after being in a relationship for 2 years. Orm's expression changed. He looked surprised, though he was trying to suppress a bigger reaction. Milk, who noticed the change in Orm's face, asked, "Don't you know about this news?" Orm took a deep breath before answering. I knew about these rumors, but I didn't ask for more details about their relationship. As a personal assistant, Orm always guarded Ling's privacy and never wanted to interfere in her personal affairs. Even though in the last few days he had noticed that Ling seemed moodier than usual. They were dating for 2 years. If I were peeling, I would definitely feel very sad, said Milk in a pitying tone. Those words seemed to be a trigger for Orm. Without another word, Orm suddenly stood up from his seat with a determined expression. I have to go now, he said suddenly. Huh? Where are you going? View asked, confused by Orm's sudden action. Orm didn't answer. He went straight to the cashier to pay for his food, then rushed to the campus parking lot. His steps were fast, as if there was something urgent that he had to do immediately. In his head, Orm only thought about Ling. After stepping out of the car, Orm immediately rushed to the door of Ling's house. He quickly pressed the buttons on the keypad to enter the password and open the door. When the door to the house opened, Orm immediately went inside without hesitation. As soon as he entered the house, the atmosphere felt very quiet. There was no sound, and the lights in the house had not even been turned on, making the room feel dark and gloomy. Orm felt around the wall with his hands, looking for the light switch. After finding it, he pressed the button and the light immediately illuminated the spacious living room. Peeling, Orm called, his voice shaking a little, but there was no answer. "Peeling," he cried again, louder this time, hoping Ling would come soon, respond. However, there was still no reply. The quiet atmosphere in the house made Orm's heart even more uneasy. Without thinking, he stepped further into the house, towards Ling's room. Quickly, his hand grabbed the doorknob of the room and opened it slowly. Orm's brow furrowed when he saw a puddle of water on the floor of the room. He followed the trail of water with a look full of suspicion, until the trail led him to the bathroom. An unpleasant feeling immediately came over him. He quickly opened the bathroom door, and at that moment he gasped, not believing what he saw. "Peeling!" Orm shouted hysterically. In front of him, Ling seemed to have drowned himself in the bathtub, his body submerged under the water. Without wasting any time, Orm immediately jumped into the bathtub, pulled Ling's body out with all his strength, and managed to lift Ling's body to the surface. Ling was choked by the water, his body almost unable to survive in the dark depths of the water. Just when everything seemed to be ending, Orm's strong hands managed to pull him to the surface, bringing him back to the air he so desperately needed. Ling coughed, but instead of feeling relieved, the emotional pain he felt was far more oppressive than almost drowning. "Let me go. Let me drown and die instead of having to bear this pain," shouted Ling in a voice full of anguish. Tears streamed down her cheeks, mixing with the water that still wet her face. She struggled, trying to escape Orm's grasp, trying in vain to get back into the water and drown herself once again. Orm tightened his grip, not letting Ling continue what he was doing. "Peeling, don't do this." Orm's voice was full of worry. He struggled to hold back Ling's body, which continued to struggle, sobbing in agony. Ling cried loudly, her whole body shaking in Orm's grip. "It's all my fault. It's all my fault that he left me," he said between sobs that were getting louder. "I'm useless. I don't deserve love from him. That's why I'm leaving." Orm's face became increasingly worried, seeing how Ling, who was usually strict, was now so broken. Carefully, he cupped Ling's cheeks, forcing Ling to look at him. His eyes were full of sincerity and deep concern. "Peeling, listen to me," said Orm slowly but firmly. He looked into Ling's eyes, which were wet with tears. "There are still many people who love you and care about you, Peeling. Your family, your friends, even your fans. They are all still there for you." However, Ling shook his head weakly, as if he didn't believe those words. "No, I don't deserve happiness," she cried louder. The sound of her hurt heart could be heard clearly in every sob. This time, she gave in, letting herself fall into Orm's chest. He poured out all his sadness there, as if Orm's chest was the only place that could hold the heavy burden of his emotions. Orm fell silent, letting Ling lean against him. Slowly, with a little hesitation, Orm reached out his arms to embrace Ling, providing comfort that he knew might not be able to completely erase the hurt. Gently, Orm rubbed Ling's back, trying to calm Ling, who was still sobbing in his arms. Even though words can no longer heal, that hug is the only thing Orm can give right now.